seven different bugs jigs for bonefish. They land softly, they imitate what the fish are eating, and they look alive in the water. I firmly believe 1000%. I've been selling these for 8 or 9 years. This will give you the best chance of catching bonefish wherever you go. They've been fished all over the world and successfully. Howdy from Texas. This is Heath Hipple with Bugs Fishing, and today we're going to talk about bonefish jigs and why I believe that the Bugs bonefish jigs are the best in the world. And it starts off with our Bugs bonefish jig heads. We sell them, offer them in 4 sizes: 16th ounce, 1/8 ounce, 3/16, and quarter. And compared to the redfish jig heads, we downsize these jig heads, the hook and the profile, to match what bonefish eat. They're a little bit smaller and they eat smaller stuff. And so we have 16th, and there's no collar on that head. And then the rest of these have a collar behind the head, and that does a couple things. One, it makes it a smaller overall profile as far as the lead goes. There's not as big of a lead head, and it gives the materials we tie a little bit of flair. And so it just gives it a smaller overall profile, and I wanted to make these smaller. Why did I want to make these smaller? Because bonefish eat smaller stuff than redfish. This is an example of some bonefish flies, and they are small. And that's because bonefish eat small stuff, and also when you're chasing bonefish in shallow water, which is super exciting, you want to make the smallest splash possible. And so that's why we made these jigs small, because bonefish eat small stuff. We wanted them to land softly, and so not to spook the fish, and also imitate what the fish are eating. And so let's talk about the different bonefish jigs we offer. The first is called a hothead bug, and it imitates a spawning shrimp. Spawning shrimp have a little egg sac. And so we put an accent piece of rabbit right there. In this case, it's orange, and that is called a hothead bug, because the hothead is this little accent piece right there. And so that's the best-selling single bonefish jig we have there, that hothead bug in natural. So that's a realistic impression. It's a realistic shrimp imitation. Next, we have what's called a loco bug. It's called a loco bug because the inspiration is the crazy Charlie bonefish fly, the most popular bonefish fly in the world. And so what we did, we just put whereas the hothead bug had barred rabbit on the back, the loco bug just has plain rabbit right there. So plain rabbit, we added a little bit of flash, and we added some rubber legs along the side. So, and then we have a reflective braid right there, just like the crazy Charlie. So another shrimp imitation, a little bit more subtle and a little bit more plain. And so that is called a loco bug. Next, we have what's called a bitty bug. It's a small crab imitation. There's a bonefish fly called bonefish bitters, and it imitates a small crab, and so that's exactly what we did here. It's called a bitty bug, a small crab imitation. Next is called a puff bug. I designed this puff bug after my buddy from Belize came back, and he showed me the size of the fly that he was using to catch bonefish in Belize, and it just reminded me how small some of the stuff that bonefish eat and how small the flies are that people use. And so I said, okay, I have to make this as small a profile as possible while still using rabbit. And so that's how I came up with the puff bug. It's just tiny. It's just a little bit of nothing on that jig head, but bonefish eat it because they eat small stuff. Okay, next is called a flats bug, and I brought out a 1/4 ounce example so you can see the largest jig head size we have. Flats bug kind of imitates everything, and you can use it in 3 ways. So it comes with a grub on the back, so you get the little swimming action when you're bouncing along the bottom or swimming it. Sometimes bonefish eat little bait fish, and so just like they would swim across the bottom, it comes with a grub. And a little grub entices fish. I don't have to tell you that. And so the other thing you can do on this flats bug, you can fish it without the grub. and when you take the grub off, just a little shrimp profile similar to the profiles of these. The other thing you can do is you can take the grub off, and then if you're having a tough day, if the fish aren't cooperating, if you're having trouble making the cast, you can pull the top piece of rabbit off, tip it with a little piece of shrimp or squid or whatever you have, tip it with some bait so that you can help you catch fish. And look, I'm not gonna fuss at you about that. You've spent thousands of dollars, you've gone hundreds if not thousands of miles to catch a bonefish. If you gotta tip something with shrimp, do what you gotta do to catch fish. And so the flats bug can help you do that. Lastly, I wanna talk to you about the clickbait family. This is called a clickbait shrimp. It imitates a shrimp and has little beads on the bottom, and you would, when you twitch it, those beads click together. This is actually based on a really popular permit and bonefish fly called an avalon. And so it imitates a shrimp. Also, super weedless and clicks when you twitch it. Next is so there's natural, and then I want to show you a new penny color also. Lastly, there's what's called a clickbait minnow. This imitates a little glass minnow. So when I read the story about the crazy Charlie fly, the guy who came up with it said he was trying to imitate a little shrimp or a little minnow. And so bonefish eat little minnows. And so the clickbait minnow imitates a little minnow, and they're brand new, but I guarantee a bonefish would eat it, especially if they're feeding on minnows. And so the profile is small enough for you to fish it. So there are 7 different bugs models, 7 different bugs jigs for bonefish. Nobody else in the world has gone to this much trouble to imitate on bonefish jigs. They land softly, they imitate what the fish are eating, and they look alive in the water. I firmly believe 1000%. I've been selling these for 8 or 9 years. This will give you the best chance of catching bonefish wherever you go. They've been fished all over the world and successfully. So I 100% believe these are the best bonefish jigs in the world. Please like the video, comment where you like to go chase bonefish, and subscribe. And we're gonna pick somebody from the comment section, and we're gonna give away this set of bonefish jigs so you can try them on your next trip. Catch you later.